will be expanding faster than the fabric of space-time can keep up with it. And it'll just rip. And I'm terrified by this.
Betelgeuse is the red supergiant star closest to Earth. It will eventually erupt as a supernova. But when? Only a few years ago, in late 2019, Betelgeuse drew worldwide attention as it began to fade dramatically. The odd dimming of Betelgeuse led some to believe that the big event was approaching. Well, Betelgeuse hasn't yet exploded. This bright star in the constellation Orion the Hunter has since regained brightness, dimmed, then brightened again, indicating that it is presently less active. And clearly, a greater dimming could occur at any time. You can observe Betelgeuse right now, so you can keep an eye out for yourself. It's simple to see as the second brightest star in Orion, marking the Hunter's right shoulder. Betelgeuse has a reddish radiance, and during the first couple of months of each year, it's well positioned for viewing in the evening sky. Betelgeuse rises about sunset in mid-northern latitudes around the 1st of every year. The star is visible throughout the evenings of January and February. This star is due south in the early evening by the beginning of March, and by mid-May, it can be seen shortly after sunset in the west. Betelgeuse travels behind the sun in early summer, but it returns to the east before sunrise by mid-July. The star Betelgeuse is distinguished by its subdued orange-red tint. It's great for persuading skeptics that stars do, in fact, come in different colors. Alpha stars are known to be the brightest stars in their constellations. On the other hand, Betelgeuse is Alpha Orionis, despite being fainter than Rigel, Orion's other bright star. Overall, it was the 10th brightest star in the sky and the 7th brightest star visible from most of the United States, Canada, Europe, and the Northern Hemisphere. Now that you know how to trace it in the night sky, what is currently happening to the star that makes it seem to have exploded? Since what's been known as the Great Dimming, which occurred in the latter half of 2019 and early 2020, the red giant star Betelgeuse has not stopped being bizarre. The dying star's normal cycles of brightness fluctuation have shifted, and Betelgeuse has become unusually bright. At the time of this video, the star is shining at around 142% of its typical brightness. It's been oscillating on a tiny scale but steadily increasing for months, reaching a recent top of 156% in April. Betelgeuse is now the 7th brightest star in the sky, up from its usual 10th position, sparking suspicion that the star might have already exploded in a spectacular supernova. Because, as you know, starlight takes time to reach us, and considering that Betelgeuse is around 642 light-years from us, it could be that we are seeing into its past. Unfortunately, it most likely isn't. Although Betelgeuse is nearing the end of its life on cosmic timescales, its supernova could be 100,000 years away on human timelines. According to astronomers, the star's current behavior is more likely to be a bit of persistent wobbliness due to the 2019 dimming, and it will return to normal within a decade. Its brightness, being 642 light-years away from Earth, makes it one of the most fascinating stars in the sky. It looms above us, shining like a bloodshot eye, a star in the red giant stage of its existence. However, Betelgeuse is an unusual form of a star, even for a red giant. It was once an enormous beast, a blue-white O-type star, the most massive stellar weight class. Betelgeuse is only 8 to 8.5 million years old, and stars of this mass burn through their hydrogen stores faster than lighter-weight stars. In comparison, at 4.6 billion years old, the Sun is only roughly halfway through its hydrogen-burning lifetime. Betelgeuse's spectral type has also changed since it has practically depleted its hydrogen stores. It's presently fusing helium into carbon and oxygen and has ballooned into 764 times the size of the Sun and 16.5 to 19 times its mass. It will eventually run out of fuel to burn, go supernova, shed its outer material, and collapse into a neutron star. The Great Dimming event reduced the star's brightness by around 25%. Astronomers scrambled to figure out what was causing the phenomenon. It came out that cooling on Betelgeuse's surface caused a large cloud of dust to collect on the star. This cloud was then ejected, partially covering Betelgeuse and making it appear dull. Scientists think this is quite typical behavior for a red giant star. We just don't normally get such a front row seat. Betelgeuse exhibited regular brightness changes prior to the Great Dimming. The longest of these cycles lasts around 5.9 years, while another lasts 400 days. However, it appears that the Great Dimming has created some alterations in these fluctuations. The 400-day cycle appears to have been cut in half, according to a new article led by astronomer Morgan McLeod of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics and published in the preprint service ArcZiv. The star's expansion and contraction produced this pulsing cycle. According to calculations undertaken by McLeod and his colleagues, a convective plume within Betelgeuse could have welled up, generating the material that shatters the star. So Betelgeuse is still reeling from the Great Dimming, and its present brightening is most likely connected to ongoing difficulties. However, the team forecasts that Betelgeuse will eventually return to normalcy and it will continue to live out its twilight millennia pretty calmly for some time. But if this unavoidable fate of the star got to it, would it be dangerous to us back on Earth? How close would a supernova have to be to Earth for it to have an impact on life? There is no doubt that a supernova explosion within a few tens of light years of us would have disastrous implications. According to some sources, around 50 light years. A truly massive explosion can become as bright as a whole galaxy, and if one of our nearest neighbors like Alpha Centauri decided to behave in this manner, we would be unable to ignore it. It would grow as bright as the moon, which would be insignificant, but it would bathe us in many sorts of radiation, which would be quite important. We haven't seen a supernova in our galaxy since 1604, but one exploded in the Large Cloud of Magellan in 1987, and the results were plainly apparent even from 169,000 light-years away. There was no danger, but it's a good thing the large cloud is so far away. It's fun to figure out the danger zone around a normal supernova. However, it appears safe to claim that Betelgeuse is out of range, although Alpha Centauri is not. Fortunately, Alpha Centauri is not a contender for a supernova since it's not large enough. But what about other naked-eye stars? One naked-eye star that has the potential to go supernova comes to mind, Eta Carinae, which is located in the keel of the ship Argo. The constellation Argo Navis was so big that the International Astronomical Union divided it into keel, sails, and a poop or puppus for context. Eta Carinae is both incredibly huge and extremely unstable. For a time, around 1843, it was the brightest star in the sky aside from Sirius, but for more than a century it has hung on the outskirts of naked-eye sight, and it radiates primarily at infrared wavelengths. It has 1,000,000 times the energy of the sun, so the question isn't will it go supernova, but when. It may not happen in 1,000,000 years, but it may happen tomorrow. If you reside in the appropriate region of the world, keep an eye out for it. Sadly, it is too far south in the sky to rise over the British Isles. To be honest, astronomers would be overjoyed if it did perform. We'd get a front row seat to a spectacular exhibition of cosmic fireworks. So Betelgeuse will explode as a supernova eventually, though maybe not anytime soon in human terms. And when it does erupt, it will be bright enough to glow during the day from our vantage point on Earth. However, it is far enough away that Earth will not be endangered.